Mini-Modelog. So this week is a slightly different unboxing for a different game. Now, for all you Blood Bowl fans who have followed the channel all last year, we did Blood Bowl predominantly last year, and we will be continuing with Blood Bowl with more unboxings, more chats about rules a bit more gameplay on the channel, and of course I'll be going to tournaments again this year. But rather than kind of commenting on the tournaments, I'm going to be playing. So I'll be giving you my view of how the tournament went, what I'm taking, what my rosters are, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in all that kind of stuff, and you're a Blood Bowl fan, I am going to be doing more of it. But I also thought that for my own sanity and to not then get upset with playing too much Blood Bowl and kind of, because when you play a game constantly, it can eventually get to a point where you get oversaturated. So I thought, let's bring another game to the channel, which I can play, which again can have a similar look to how Blood Bowl is played. It plays on a board, and it was Godtear. Now, I've been looking at Godtear since Steamforged Games announced it, and that was about a year ago, maybe longer, at SteamCon, and I really like the models for it. And I don't know how to play. I've got no idea how to play. I don't know which champions are good and which ones are bad. I literally thought, let's get the starter set, have a read of the rules, play some kind of games with someone I know who's going to kind of teach me the game, which I'm going to all do on camera for you so you can see how quickly it is to pick up, how easy it is to learn. Obviously, it's probably one of those games, I've been told it's one of those games that's easy to learn, difficult to master. So I'm quite intrigued on that side of it because I quite like that idea. And it's also, you don't have to have loads of champions. You can play with one champion, you can play with two champions, you can play with three. But when you get to the 2 and 3 stage, having a mix of the different tribes of champion apparently can be an advantage from what I've read online. I'm not going to do a playthrough video because, as usual, Steamforged have done a superb set of playthrough videos, and I'll pop a link down below for those. But I bought the Borderlands starter set, and I went for Rule of Cool because I like the Finbar model in it, which is kind of like these elf assassin in blue, and you get Titus in yellow, which is more of a, I'd say he looks like my Skyrim character. So if you're a bit of a Skyrim barbarian fan, Titus is probably for you, because that's what immediately came to mind when I was doing it. So inside you get the two champions, you get their followers, you get the rule book, two banners, which are the banner for each champion, a double-sided battlefield, which I think is really nice because it can get boring playing on the same battlefield all the time. I mean, I know for Blood Bowl we've done pitch unboxings before, and of course they're double-sided. I mean, I've now got about four or five different pitches I can play on by flipping my pitches, as well as having my Mini-Modelog pitch from JB Fantasy Fields. But this comes with a double-sided board, 10 dice, 24 objective hexes, profile cards, dashboards, 85 tokens. So my advice for the tokens is get some baggies. This does, I think it comes with baggies, but we can see that in just a minute. But let's get inside Godtear, the Borderlands starter set. So let's take a look inside Godtear. So this is the box I bought. This is the Borderlands starter set. Comes with two champions and their followers, as well as all the bits and pieces to play the game. Costs between about £36 and £40 depending on where you buy it from. I bought my copy from Element Games, which are currently doing them at £36, which I think is a bargain for a starter game. So let's take a look inside. So straight away you get the game board. This game board's a hexagonal game board similar to Shadespire. Has a kind of tracker counter at the side, and that's for your points, and you have to earn so many points to win the scenarios in Godtear. Several scenarios which we will talk about when I look at the rule book in the future. They all set up slightly differently and have different ideas, but that's the board. We'll take a look at that as well in full when we do our first playthrough. So that is a really nice board. It's very similar to the Blood Bowl pitches and very similar thickness and things like that. So I reckon it'll last you for quite a while. So straight away you get 10 dice in it. These are Godtear themed dice with different images on them, with the Godtear image on it and blank. So I know it works on a success basis, very similar to Shadespire, and they're marking so many successes. So on the dice you either get nothing, 1 success, or 2 successes. You get 10 of those dice, and I believe you throw so many for doing certain actions and so forth. So in there you get your cards. So these are your cards for Finbar and Titus. There are limited edition versions of these. I believe there was different ones for open days and things like that. And each one explains, very similar to the cards from Guild Ball, explains how the champion works, etc. Also comes with a baggie, which I think is good because you'll have somewhere to put your tokens in. I went and bought an organizer box because I saw me taking most of this out and using an organizer box for my tokens, because obviously you lose tokens. I lose tokens left, right and centre, and always like to have them in a box. So that's all that. These are the tokens. You get 3 of these. The only slight difference on the token point of it is you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of faction-based coloured tokens. You get broken heart tokens, which are obviously wound tokens, and then you get the hexes that you try and claim in the game. I believe you claim them by putting the banners that you get for each faction. So there's 3 boards of those, which I think gives you more than enough tokens. I think these ones are boons, so you get positive boons, and I think most of them are positive boons and negative things as well. And the other side is negatives and other bits and pieces. So they're double-sided. Most of this stuff's double-sided, which I think is great. Utilise as much space as possible. Then you get the kind of game mats where you put your cards on and your boons and your hearts and so forth. There you get one of those for each player, I believe. I haven't had a proper look inside. You can still see that's in the plastic there. Then of course you get the rule books, the 31-page rule book, which gives you everything you need to know, including all the scenarios. I'll be going through this with an overview of the basic scenario at some point, as well as doing some obviously gameplay in the future. But let's get on to the bit which everyone wants to see, which is the models. So in this set you get Titus and his 5 followers, Finbar and his 3 followers, and their 2 banners, which is what come in the set. I bought it for Finbar, so this is the Finbar model. I really like this model, so if I can get as close as possible. The sword's a little bit bent on this one, but that's down at the plastic. I'm sure I'm going to try and iron that out somehow, maybe heat it up and try and get it to be a bit flatter. But that's the Finbar model. He comes with 3 other followers, and they all look very, very assassin-y in style. You get this guy with his 2 swords, which I really quite like. Highly detailed considering they're plastic. Not too thick or fat compared to some other games I've played as models go. Really like this guy. Really love the double kind of flails that he's carrying. And again, he's got swords on his back there as well. And then you get the other guy, who again carries swords but in a different way. Really like the stances, really like the poses. Look relatively simple to paint as well. So that's Finbar, and then you get his banner, which is, I believe, you place on the hexes that you're after to claim the Godtears. His banner I wasn't a big fan of. That's one of the banners I wasn't a big fan of. But I was a big fan of Titus's, so I win both ways. This is Titus, he is in yellow. That's his model. Obviously the champions are slightly bigger than their followers. He reminds me very much of the character I created in Skyrim, to be honest. And then you get the 5 kind of guys. I'll go through a couple of them. But there's one with a massive axe, if I can get him in focus. There's one with a massive axe there, which is really cool. And then these are very barbarian in style. Very what reminded me of Skyrim a little bit when I was looking at these. And I've seen some really cool different paint versions for both these and Finbar. And then of course you get his banner, which is more like a banner I'd expect, an actual kind of, when you say banner, that's kind of what I think of. But that's everything in the game. This allows you to get started. You can add more of these, and obviously the 4 different factions I'll talk about in a future video. But you can add more factions. You can play 1v1, 2v2, 3v3. So as you kind of get to know the game more, and I imagine in competition, the tournament rules will be based on how many kind of guys you can turn up with or how many champions you can have on your team. But that's what you get in the Borderlands starter set. I'll probably get the other starter set in time, so do look out for an unboxing for that too. Hope you enjoyed this unboxing video and my first kind of step into Godtear. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more Godtear on the channel, and I'll see you next time.